There we go. All right, we took a look at this with day one. Any conditional statement we would like to put in if-then form. Okay, milk cows are black and white. If a cow is a milk cow, then she is black and white. The converse exchanges the P and the Q, the if part and the then part. So then our cow statement would be, if a cow is black and white, then she is a milk cow. The inverse goes back to the original, but negates both the hypothesis and the conclusion. Okay? If a cow is not a milk cow, then she is not black and white. The contrapositive is the longest word. It does the most changes. Okay, I was interrupted. The longest word, contrapositive, is going to have the biggest changes. I want that back, okay? So it negates and switches. If a cow is not black and white, then she is not a milk cow. There's also examples still on the board today, okay? But they will get erased, so you might need to write them down in your notes too. Okay? Here's another example. If angle C is 34, then it is acute. That's my original conditional. So this is my statement P, this is my statement Q. Okay? The converse, remember the converse does the switch. So now here, this is Q, and this is P. Notice not every single word gets switched. We are talking about angle C. It's 34 degrees, it's acute. It's acute, it's 34 degrees, and so on. Okay? The inverse went back to the original. So notice here, it comes back to the original, but it negates both the if part and the then part. And the contrapositive does both. Okay? So if an angle is not acute, so this is not Q, that's the symbol for not, then not 34 degrees. Okay? Notice truthness. This is true. If an angle is 34 degrees, then it's acute. This is true. If an angle is not acute, then it's not 34 degrees. Because if it's not acute, it's 90 or more. Okay? But these two can be both false. Okay? Just because it's acute does not guarantee it's 34. What if it's 44? That's still acute. And the inverse is the same. If the angle's not 34, then it's not acute. Right. What if it's 24 degrees? Then it's acute. So that's why that is both false. Okay. So what I was asking you to do is go in and write the converse, inverse, and contrapositive of the conditional statement. Well, we have several examples now. I'm not going to go through all this for you. Okay. Next part, equivalent statements. It's when two statements are both true or both false, such as the original conditional and the contrapositive. Okay. Or the inverse and the converse. We looked at those already. Okay, so they're equivalent truthness. Okay, the other part we need to talk about is definitions. Okay, definitions, you can write a definition as a conditional statement in if-then form or as its converse, because both are true. That's what makes a definition different from a theorem or postulate. Okay, perpendicular lines. okay? When you have perpendicular lines, they meet to form right angles, okay? So here's our conditional, here's our converse. Okay, both are true. If two lines intersect to form a right angle, they are perpendicular. If two lines are perpendicular, then they intersect to form a right angle. Pause this if you need to. But a biconditional statement works very well for definitions. We use it if and only if. And there's the shorthand. Okay? Mathematicians get tired of writing things out, so we write IFF for if and only if. Okay? If an angle is a right angle, then it measures 90 degrees. Also true is if an angle measures 90 degrees, then it is a right angle. Look how nice that is as a biconditional. An angle is a right angle if and only if it measures 90 degrees. The if and only if, the biconditional, puts these two in one statement. So anytime you have a definition, you might want to consider to write it as a biconditional and use if and only if. Cute story. Libby's mom was subbing and she saw me writing IFF and she kept correcting it. She corrected it about 4 times. And when I came back after being gone, I said, oh, that's supposed to be that way. She had no idea, but then she doesn't teach math. Okay, there's a few other shorthand symbols. Okay, you've seen me writing the angle of MXB. Now, if I want the measure of, I would put the M in front of the angle. So that's measure of angle MXB. If I want to show that line L and K are perpendicular, I do L upside down T, K. Remember the cursive letters in lowercase will name a line. Okay. Segment ER, when we're actually talking about the segment itself. But if I'm just talking about the length of the segment, I don't put an M in front of it. I just put JK. So JK is saying the length of that segment. Okay, and then for a plane, we usually put a parallelogram in front of it. And we can do that if it's a plane that has 3 points in it, J, M, C, then I might go plane, sorry, that's not cursive because we're naming the points, plane J, M, C. But we just use a parallelogram to say a plane. All right, rewatch whatever you need to rewatch. Pause, back up, whatever you need to do. But this video is for you so you can finish this lesson.